Hello there, my name's Vince from My Mate Vince, and in this video today we're going to try to fix up this Beats Pill speaker here. It's a Bluetooth speaker. Now this was sent into the channel years ago by Haley, and I already did a fix on it. From memory, I think one of the buttons, I think it might have been this one here, wasn't working, so you couldn't get it into pairing mode. Well, now I've gone to get it out. It hasn't been used in about 6 or 7 months, and it connects up, so the button's still working because it connects up to my phone fine, but there's no sound coming out of it. So look at this. You can see to begin with that I am connected on Bluetooth because you can see the little symbol just here. But if I do this, you will see that Gadget UK will start playing, and if I was to hit it twice, it will go to the next video. If I hit it 3 times, it will go back. 1, 2, 3. But we don't have anything. If I do the volume buttons here, nothing's happening. But weirdly, and sorry, if I do the volume buttons here, nothing's happening. So there's no sound coming out here. But weirdly, even if I use a 3.5mm jack into the back of this, no sound will come out. So it looks like we have issues with not only the buttons, but also the speakers as well. Because now if you have a look, can you see the symbols change now? Because we're on a wired connection rather than a Bluetooth connection, but there's still no sound coming out. Really, really odd. So let's take it apart and hopefully something will become obvious when we look inside. Now from memory, you just have to take off this bottom bit and there should be some screws, I think. Yep. Now part of this is already broken, there should be plastic going around here. And it's starting to break down. It's got like a rubberized coating, it's gone all sticky and horrible. The problem is if I take it off, then it's going to rub away the paint, the writing on it. I'm pretty sure. I think that rubberized coating is put on and then the paint's put on top of that, unfortunately. I hate that stuff. It's on so many different products. Now, why are you not working? So 2 battery packs. Do you think that's a little bit high? See that there? I'm sure it is making a contact. Is that a little bit high? Let's see. Not really. Let's just turn it on just to see if it suddenly makes a noise, because I'm pretty sure there should be like a start-up sound. No. A little look under here, because I'm a bit confused why if it was like the sound, the amplifier chip that had gone, why are the volume up or down buttons not working? It'd be very weird to have 2 faults, 2 different faults on here. Well, I presume that's some sort of microphone or something. You know, if you want to make phone calls on here. So this is the main button here that works. I think this was the one that we fixed before from memory. Well, I can't see anything wrong. Let's see if the buttons themselves are working. So I'm just going to go on to continuity. And we're going to go on at the angles here. Yeah, that's working, and the opposite way. That's fine. Well, the buttons themselves are okay. I wonder do they go all the way to here though. Let's just see where these ones from here go down to. That's the second pin along. Let's see what this one is. And the first pin. So in theory, if I was to go, I think between these two, I wonder would I actually be able to hear it go here? No. Unless of course when you plug it in it automatically goes to mute, but again it doesn't come up on the phone that it's mute. Right, they're going through resistors. I can see resistors here. 103 it looks like. So that top one, if that's a 10,000 ohm resistor, I'm not going to get a continuity on here. But let's see if we can get an ohms reading, because my meter will only beep up to 50 ohms. Here we go. Here you go, 3,300 ohms. Let's do this one. 10,000 ohms. So the buttons are definitely, this whole thing's working. So by pressing one of them, we must get 10,000 ohms through the resistor. By pressing this one, because this would be a direct short, but when it goes through the resistor, it's coming up as 10,000 ohms, and I think the other one was 3,000 odd ohms. So that's all right. It's not that. Well, at least we've eliminated that. Now let's get back to here. Well, there's no way all the speakers are going to have failed. Should we get the flare cam on, just in case it's just in case something's lighting up? So I'm going to plug it in, turn it on again. I won't bother about the microphone. I'm going to bring my finger in because that will show up heat. Now I can see some reflections on the speakers. No, so the only thing that's getting a little bit warm is around this area here. But it's not actually warm. Right, let's take the board out just in case that heat might be coming from the other side. You can see there's a little heat spot there. Not much though. No. Right, so there's nothing there. There's no, I don't think there's any shorts or anything like that. So I think what we need to do is I think we need to trace it back from here because it hasn't got any sound. So let's go from here back. So we've got four, so there's two speakers, and then they are in, well, there's four speakers here, but they're in parallel with each other. So we've got a red and yellow coming up, and then we have a black and white coming up this side. So let's just concentrate on this side here because we don't have to worry. In fact, they've labelled up minus and minus. Let's just concentrate here. So we got one going up. Oh, so this is a whole pad, sorry. Whole pad to here. So these are some sort of inductors. So what I could do is maybe I could play some music. This might be interesting. I could play some music from my phone just via the well, Bluetooth or aux in, and then maybe I could get a speaker and I could go here, see if it's working. But the thing is, it'd be different if it wasn't just coming out of maybe one lot of the speakers, but to not come out of both. They can't have all failed. So then from there we go to here and to here, and it looks like we go through the board. We've got wires here and I can't see them going off anywhere else. I wonder, do they just go straight into here? I wonder, is this amplifier chip? Maybe I could get the pin out there and find out where the input is. I bet you this has failed. Well, good news is it's something that you can buy, Texas Instruments, and it's a Class D audio power amplifier. So I'm going to get the data sheet and see what's what. I'm just looking up the data sheet now. I looked at this and I thought, whoa, that's bloated, but I don't think it has, because this is the first one straight from the board, and I think there's just a little battery management board in here, and that's why it's puffed out there. And then this doesn't need the battery management board because it's taking it from here. So I actually think that is all right. Right, I've got the data sheet here, and the outputs are on this side here, which we already know because we traced them back. And it looks like the input, see, I don't have to worry about left and right, I can just do one lot because we've got neither of them. These are the left inputs and these are the right inputs, so we've got 3 and 4 and 11 and 12. So I think I'm going to go across 3 and 4, connect this up via Bluetooth and see if we can hear any YouTube playing. So I'm going to plug this in and we'll let it pair up. I don't need to have the speakers plugged in. Right, so I've got GadgetUK164 playing here. I've got my little Bluetooth speaker with a lead, a 3.5mm jack, and here. So if I can get that to ground and that to pin 3, then I'm thinking we might be able to hear something. I wonder would it work from here, or is that too far? Let me give it a go. Just a shield on here, you see. Everything's so ridiculously small. I might have to solder wires. Right, I'm going to rest that on here. See if we can hear anything. So 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Listen to that. I can hear Chris. Oh, sorry, Chris. So we've got it there. Hopefully you can just about hear that. It's very quiet because that's the input. So now let's go back and double check what the output is. So the output ones are 25. So 25 is, hold on. So that's going to be output positive left and then output negative left. So it's going to be 25 and 23. Class D, H bridge negative output for left and H bridge positive output for left. Right, so I need to go to 25 and 23. So 1, 2, 3, 4 from the top and 6 from the top. Remember that, Vince? 4 from the top and 6 from the top. Let's see if Chris sounds any louder. I'm going to use this again. I don't know if I can use that as a ground. Let me just see. Let's make sure he's still here on number 3. Yeah. Right, 4 from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. I think the chip might have failed, unless of course it's not getting the right voltage. I am going to put that to number 6, just to see then if the 6th one down, and then we'll have the negative and positive on here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And here I think. No, so that's not even wanting to turn on now. So we've got something going into the chip but not going out. I'm just going to see if the right hand side is going into the chip. So it's 3 up from the bottom on the left hand side. Yeah, I can hear Chris again. So that means then that the Bluetooth side of it and everything's okay. There's something not right with the chip itself. I love using that little speaker trick. So let's see if that chip is getting the voltage. In case the chip's not being livened up. It might not necessarily be faulty. It might be something which isn't, there might not be the correct voltage on it. Right, so AVCC number 7 is the analog supply positive, and number 8 is the ground. So let's see if we have anything. So we got 7 from the top. Let's see if it's being fed with any voltage. Whoops, voltage DC. It's being fed with 11.4 volts. So we've definitely got the voltage there. Is there anywhere else I can test? High side FET gate drive supply. Should we look at that? That's number 9. 5.2 volts. Maybe that's right. How about 15 and 16? Power supply for right hand H bridge. So let's go on to the bottom 2 here. Oh, that's interesting. There's nothing there. Right, so if the power supply for the H bridge is not there, then would that suggest why we haven't got any output? Let's have a look up the top. So this is the power supply for the left bridge up here. Now hold on a minute. I think they're just, I think I've got to measure them in reference to ground. There's nothing there. Let's go to here. No, 11.4, we do have voltage. They're just, we've got the same voltage on them. 11.4. So we've definitely got power supplies in the chip, and we've got the inputs into the chip. So unless there's some kind of enable pin, I think that the chip's failed, which would make sense because the volume wasn't working either. Not quite sure though why the power amplifier would affect the volume. There is one thing here that says shut down logic input for audio amp on number 1. Should we see what number 1's reading? So that's at 0 volts, and it says low equals outputs high, Z, high equals outputs enabled. TTL logic levels with compliance. So if that was high, it would enable the outputs. Is that our problem? Don't know. I think I'm going to trace back from that one there. We'll leave it live at the moment. Right, I'm having problems here because of that light, so I'm just going to turn it off. I can't focus in. It looks like these two pins are actually joined. So let's go to continuity. To me, they look like they're joined. Yes. And it looks like they go to this resistor here. Now, shall I measure the resistor? I don't know what it's supposed to be. Oh, interesting. I don't think we're getting anything. Look. I wonder if I went that side of the resistor, whether there would actually be voltage. And right now, there's no voltage, so the chip thinks there's a problem, like a short circuit or a problem. Look at that. There's nothing. Oh, there is. Hold on. Is there something? I'm pressing pretty hard. Let's go more onto the resistor. I don't think there's anything there. So what we're going to do is let's zoom in a bit more and see where that goes to. Right, where do you go? You go to here. And then it looks like you come around to here. So let's go back to continuity. And from here, you go to there. And from there, you go around, I think, to here. Yes. Let me go from here to here, see if we get a reading. It's come up as 0 ohms. I think, hold on a minute. I think because the batteries are connected, maybe that's a good thing. Let me check now for voltage on this side because the batteries are still connected. So I'm going to go between the ground on this little USB port and I'm going to go this side of the resistor. So we have nothing that side. Do we have anything this side? Wow, 3.9 volts. We've got 3.9 volts there and we don't have anything there. I think the resistor's failed and that's why the chip's not being enabled. But what resistor could it possibly be? Can you see on the left hand side we have voltage, 3.9 volts, but when I go to the right hand side, nothing. So we haven't got anything on the first 2 pins off the chip. Wow. I think we might have found the problem. So we know pin 1 is called SD and it's also linked to pin 2, which is fault. And if we go all the way down here, I don't know what resistor it is yet, but it does say SD. So it says the chip employs a shutdown mode of operation designed to reduce supply current to the absolute minimum level during periods of non-use. So it's like it's gone into sleep. The SD input terminal should be held high. See specific table for trip point. Haven't found that table yet. During normal operation when the amplifier is in use. So it should be high. It's not, it's low. Putting SD low causes the output to mute and for the amplifier to enter a low current state. Never leave SD unconnected because amplifier operation would be unpredictable. So right now, it's the chip's muted it on purpose because of the faulty resistor. And this pin 2, this fault thing, it says here, it's from overcurrent conditions caused by short circuit on the output stage. and it says, if automatic recovery from the short circuit protection latch is desired, connect the fault pin directly to the SD pin. So that's what they've done. This allows the fault pin to function to automatically drive the SD pin low, which clears the short circuit protection latch. Hold on. This allows the fault pin function to automatically drive the SD pin low, which clears the short circuit protection latch. I wonder if we were to move that resistor. Do you reckon it's been driven low on purpose? If we were to move that resistor off the pad, I wonder then, is this side of the resistor being pulled down because it's still connected to the chip, or has the resistor failed? That I'm not sure. We might need to take that out to see what happens. Bingo! Look what we got here. SD and fault. There's two resistors. We've got a 100k resistor and a 1k resistor. That goes to the control system. So, and then they go off to these pins here via capacitors. So we're looking for 1k or 100k. Let's go back to the board now and maybe I can find one of them and then we know it's the other one. So the one at the bottom here, the bigger resistor, is 12 ohms. There. And then this one here is 100k. There. So this one must be 1k. So let's pop in a 1k resistor and see what it's doing. And then when we take that out, we can measure it just to confirm it is faulty. So I'm looking at a 1k resistor. 1k, they look to be slightly bigger, but I think that might be a good thing. So if you have a look now, I think the bigger ones are going to be less likely to burn out. This one might not even be faulty anyway. When we take it out, it might be working. It might be this side for some reason which is dragging it down, but I don't think so. I think it's gone into a mute state. There you go. 997 ohms. So 0.997k ohms. Nearly 1k. Right, let's... am I going to unsolder the batteries for safety? I suppose I better. Don't short. Right, clearly labelled up there. I'm going to put these out of harm's way so I don't accidentally short them. Let's take out this one. Tiny. And let's get the hot air on this and try to... Actually, do you know what? I might just use... I think I'm just going to use my soldering iron. Oh, it's gone. Just leave it on the mat a second. And I'm just going to clean it up and then we'll try to measure it on the mat, but it will probably ping off. There we go. And I'm just going to put a bit of solder on one side. Then when the new one's in place, I'll put solder on the other side. Right, let's see if we can measure the tiny component. Look how small that is. It looks like a bit of dirt, doesn't it? It's amazing how small these things are. Let's see if it's reading open when it's on here. No. Oh, hold on. I think it might be getting pulled down. Let's see. Oh, what was that? That's 100k. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh no. So I think it's detecting a fault which is putting a short on it. It does say 100k though. Why is that 100k and not 1k? I wonder where the 1k resistor is. I don't think it's faulty. Unless of course it was faulty on the solder. You know, where it was soldered on. I'm worried now. But that there's too much coincidence. That must be okay, and it must be just 100k. Yeah, that's a 100k resistor. Right, let's pop that one back in, just in case it was a solder problem. It all looked fine. Unless by me, you know, heating it up, it's now come back to life. Let's zoom right in and try to get it back on. I wonder if I was to do it just like that for a minute. See now, if we plug it back in, whether we have the voltage on the end of it. Also, we could see if this is being dragged down to, should we see if that's being dragged down? Pins 1 and 2. Maybe the chip has failed internally. So if we were to go here and here, what have we got? No, it's not being dragged down. Okay. Well, let's see now if we have, let's get the batteries back on. I wonder whether it was a solder problem. Turn it on. Oh, it's at the back here. Wait for the white light. Do you know what? I bet now that I've removed the batteries, I'm going to have lost my pairing, aren't I? So I'm going to have to put it into pairing mode again. There we go. Right, let me just connect it up to my phone. Right, there we go, I'm connected. So let's measure the other side of the resistor now. So this, I can't really see what I'm doing if I'm honest with you. Hold on. Right, so we are the left-hand side of the resistor and we have 11 volts there. Wow. Okay, now I'm going to go to the right-hand side of the resistor, but it's not on the pad. And we have 11 volts. So we've got 11 volts through the resistor, and on the pad I don't have any voltage. We've got 11 volts there now. I think I'm going to put it back in its place. Let's turn this off. Do I have to unsolder again? I suppose I have to. I'll just do the positive side. Just going to get this back in its home. And now get a little bit of flux and solder up both sides. Now I'm going to use some isopropyl alcohol, 99.9%. Ta-da! Let's give that a little clean up. Now, whilst I'm using the Wonder stuff, let's give a quick shout out to the MyMate Vince Massive. The members this month are Keymon Services, Kip Hakes on YouTube, Max Rokotansky, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeeps.com, DJ VG, Pixie, Anthony Dean, Russ Melanson, Ricard Berglunds, Shamsa Al Sawadi, Stuart Park, Stephen from the Broken Past on YouTube, Lee Benz, AJ Computer Services UK, and David Delay. Massive thanks. See, for all I know, the path might continue through that resistor down here, and then it might go, through a resistor when it comes to the actual, where it said control. So whatever chip's controlling everything, let's pretend it's one of these, there might actually be a resistor in line with that. So that's why this one's reading 100k rather than 1k. There probably is a 1k resistor somewhere. If it read kind of like 800 and something k, then I'd be like, oh, maybe it's gone 40. But the very fact that it's perfectly on 100k, the odds of that being 40 are too slim. Right, I think that's okay. Now, before we do apply power back into it, let's measure now to see if we have a resistance when it's in circuit. Now, let's see if we have it from here to here. We didn't have that before. There wasn't anything there before, but I think I can't even remember, was my battery connected? I'm not sure. Let's put the battery back in. No, I disconnected the battery, didn't I? Let's take that out because it's lighting up. Right, they're on. Now, I think it's going to work. So I'm going to have to connect it up again. Right, we are connected. So So I'm just going to start playing Gadget. Obviously my speakers are not connected. I just want to see what's happening with the voltage now, see if it's different than it was before. So, using that as my ground. There you go. Oh, it lit up for a minute. There you go, 10 volts. I didn't have that before. 10 volts. So I think we are now going to have sound. Are you ready? Are you ready? Do you know what? Shall I do it on my speakers to begin with, just to show you that you can use these, because it didn't work earlier, did it? Right. This is connected. You should be doing this via a capacitor, just in case this was to develop a fault. Here, and was it the third one down? There he is. Listen to that. Oh, Gadget. Result. So you can hear now we've got an output on that, and we didn't have an output before. So I'm going to turn this off for a second so I don't short anything. Off. Now let's plug this in. There. Now we should hear the sounds coming through here when I turn it back on. I need to remember to put that resistor back in here as well. Let's turn this off. I was told about that little trick ages ago when I was doing the Walkman repairs. A long time ago. Alright, so I think I'm connected. Let's see now, can we hear Gadget coming through here? What? What's going on?
Ha ha.
What? Why can we still not hear him? What's going on? Right, let's turn off. I wonder, do we have some weird short on our speakers which is knocking this out? Let's turn on again. Oh no, I'm going around in circles now. I thought it was the solder on the resistor. Here we've got 10 volts on those pins now. The right hand pad of the resistor. If we were to get my speaker, I think now we might have a fault with the actual speakers themselves. Let's go straight onto the connections down here. So we've got our negative there and our positive here.
Show you, hopefully you're going to be able to
Listen to
see whilst they both look like they're pulsing on all.
And let's try this side.
Activity on all 4 pins on both sides of the outputs there.
Right, we have got a fault on the speakers. So maybe I'm going to say that there was nothing wrong. Well, we know there's nothing wrong with the resistor, but I wasn't getting any resistance reading when it was in circuit. But what's the odds of having 2 faults? Very, very unlikely. So let's turn that off. Now let's forget about this a minute. We know that that is working. But something's not happy here. So let's see if we have, because we're going to have an ohm reading, but it shouldn't be a direct short. So let's go across here and here. Why do we not have anything? Right, let's go across here and here. What? What's going on? Right, that speaker's working. 4 ohms. That one is definitely working. What about you? What? Nothing there. Okay, let's try these ones. 4 ohms, and you can see my leads are going to be hopefully about 1 ohm, less than 1 ohm. So that's working. Let's try this one here. I don't understand. How can we have 2 speakers gone? What is going on? Why would you have 2 gone? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Can you see that? That's been dropped or thrown, isn't it? Or has it been played that loud that it's come completely out? So I think it's been causing some weird short on that. Right, so that's the reason why you're not working. Let's see if I can take these out without breaking them. Yeah, so I suppose it's shorting against a magnet or something. It can't drive it, can it? They're not going to be repairable. Well, they are. They would be. I think you would be able to recone. Oh, wow, look, they're both gone. What? They're both gone. Oh, no, we've only actually got one speaker that's intact. Game over. That's a shame. Obviously, you would be able to get speakers, but you'd probably be able to buy the whole Beats pill cheaper. That's weird, isn't it? Do you think it's just age? Because, for example, this has gone really, really sticky here. And do you think the foam's breaking down? Because the same thing happened on my Rolls Royce. Yes, you did hear correctly, Rolls Royce. I did attempt to do a Rolls Royce on this channel, for those of you that may not have watched many of my videos. Annoyingly, YouTube has completely buried the videos. It's very hard to find them, and they get very, very little views. And you know what? I think it's one of the best things on YouTube, and those that watched it really enjoyed the series. The main thing that people say is, I didn't think I would like the series, but I loved it. And every time I get an email or I get something in my PO box, normally it will say, love the Rolls Royce series. So even if you're not into cars, it doesn't matter. It's a Rolls Royce. I'm not showing you how to do something on just a normal everyday car. The Rolls Royce is different. It's interesting. And spoiler alert, you can see on this bit here, I attempted to fix the speakers. Yes, it wasn't successful, but at least I gave it a go. So yeah, if you want to see me struggle for 2 years over about 50 or 60 episodes, seriously, just give it a little bit of a go. You can always watch it at ×2 speed if you're unsure, if you want to commit to like a 40-minute video. Just pick a random one and maybe just start on episode 20 or 30 or 15 or 10 and see how you go. Then if you like it, you can always go back and watch it from the beginning, because annoyingly YouTube has buried that series, and it's really unfortunate, because I honestly think, and I don't normally big up my videos, I honestly think the series was a good series, even if you don't like cars whatsoever. Please give it a go. And then, of course, if my son or daughter was playing this at loud volume, which could well be the case, because it's small, so you might want to, you know, you might be playing it at full to get a lot of sound out of it, and it's just broken. Oh well, look, I don't mind a failure video as long as I know what's wrong with it. Now, what I did on my Rolls Royce is I actually used, what did I use? I used some sort of rubber tape, didn't I, to go around it, and I got them to work, but they didn't have the response. You know, they weren't. That needs to be able to move quickly like that, and it was too hard, so I had to get new speakers. But you can recone them, so they would be fixable. This one definitely, and I think the what's wrong here is, well, I'll tell you what, let's prove what's wrong. So let's just try to, we might as well do this one here. Let's see why we haven't got the ohm reading. That just came off. So there we have it. We haven't got the ohm reading because the wires that go from the little metal prongs must have been detached from the actual coil of wire itself, maybe with them flying around the place because as they were breaking down, maybe they were kind of moving unevenly, and on two of them the wires must have just snapped. The actual coil of wire is okay on the one that I've stripped down here. No point in showing you that because it's just a coil of wire with a 4 ohm short across it, which is correct. So yeah, if you were to buy a reconing kit, you would be able to fix these. These are very small speakers, so I say it would probably be harder to fix a small speaker than a big speaker because you can't get too much glue in the wrong place. Realistically, I don't think there'd be many people reconing these on this particular Bluetooth speaker. I can imagine if you had some lovely Bang & Olufsen big speakers and they were your pride and joy, that you would probably pay someone to recone them or maybe even give it a go yourself. But I think we can all agree on this particular item here, to make it good again, you would need not just 3 speakers, you would need 4, because I think these have just worn down over time. I think the foam has kind of perished, and so you would need 4 speakers, 3 to make it work, but 4 to make it kind of good. And also it's got horrible rubber coating everywhere, which has gone all sticky. As well as that, I've got a broken bit of plastic in the middle. So I think we can agree that this one is beyond its life. It doesn't make the video any less interesting. You know it can be fixed. If I was to buy 4 speakers, this thing would work again. On this next part of the video, I'll just show you it working. What I've done is I've just wired up 1 speaker. The one working speaker, I've just wired that up on the red and the yellow wire just to finish off the video. So it's a failure video, but I've proved what the fault is. So for me, it's a success. I get as much enjoyment from that as having a working product at the end of it. And I've always said that, as long as I know what the failure is, I'm more than happy, because the joy for me is finding the fault, not having the working product at the end. Anyway, let me show you it working now when it's all closed up again. Right, here we have it. It's all back together. This poor little Beats speaker has just reached the end of its life. I don't think there was any foul play here. I think it was played at full volume, and I think the foam's disintegrating and the speakers have just come loose. The reason the volume wasn't working is purely because it doesn't register on here, so I didn't need to fault find that. But normally when you do that, you will see it going up and down on the phone, but not on this particular speaker, so I didn't need to fault find that. That's why that was a bit of a red herring. And could it be fixed properly? Yeah, of course it could. You need 4 new speakers and then it would be working. But to make it nice, you also need the plastic bit around here, and you also need to remove all this stickiness. I don't think anybody in their right mind would actually be spending any money on this speaker here now. It's just reached the end of its life, but it was still interesting for the video. What's confusing for me is the resistor. I'll have to edit the video back. As far as I could see, I didn't have the speakers connected, and I'm pretty sure I was testing the resistor when the battery wasn't connected, and yet there was nothing there. But to me, the soldering looked okay and the resistor looked okay. So was it when I applied heat by my iron it somehow reformed the resistor? Is that a thing? Some people say that you can reform a capacitor by applying heat. Is it the same thing with the resistor? Really weird. I'll know when I'm editing the video back, but I'm pretty sure I had the battery disconnected and the speakers disconnected. So how could the chip go into shutdown when there was no speakers connected to put a fault on it? Or was it when I disconnected the battery that everything reset itself and then the chip started to work, and maybe beforehand it was put in a short? But I was still measuring with my meter, so it should have read 100,000 ohms and it didn't. So I'm going to say that the fault here was the resistor and also the speakers, but I don't know for sure yet until I edit the video back. But at least I've got it working for the end of the video, even if it is only on 1 speaker. So this is the Champion by 9 Violets. You can check them out on Bandcamp and also YouTube as well. Matt is a viewer and a Patreon to the channel, so have a listen. It doesn't sound too bad considering it's only 1 speaker. And the volume's working. Right, there we go. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next one. Massive thanks to Hayley who sent this in all those years ago. It's already had 1 fix on it, at least I got some use out of it. Thanks for watching, everyone.
There's no time like now. Nothing can